Hello, Aaron.
Hello, Bo.
This is episode 24, and we got a mostly MMA related episode for you guys following the big UFC ticket this past weekend.
Which was 285 for those counting.
Yeah, I stopped counting long ago. When was McGregor Aldo?
McGregor Aldo, that was in
Well,
that
I
might be
know
like
when it
in the
was.
100s.
It was in the 100s.
That might
Holy.
be like 190 something. Let me check. Yeah, 194.
See, I always figured and I always felt like a real big bandwagon fan of McGregor and the UFC in general when I started like not seriously watching because I really don't watch any of the fights that aren't like super hyped up nowadays, but that was like one of the first fights that I saw or cared about seeing rather. I saw some incidentally before that. But when you put it into perspective of we're on 325 now and that's
285.
190,
285.
285 rather. I mean that's 190 like that's kind of in the middle now. I mean,
It was 8 years ago. Yeah.
it's not really bandwagoning at this point. But yeah, we had a pretty good card. The only two fights that I really paid attention to, two and a half, we should say. I saw the ending of the woman fight, which was who
Shevchenko and
versus
Alexa
who.
Grasso. That pissed me
Yeah,
off.
Shevchenko ended up losing via submission, rear naked choke in round four, three.
It was round 4, beginning of round 4. She did a spinning back kick and then like kind of got pushed against the fence and got her back taken.
Yeah. But we saw some really good grappling this weekend, which is the win for all the jiu-jitsu fans
For all
out there,
the cultured fans out there.
all the cultured fans.
Um,
Speaking of cultured, what are you sipping on, Aaron?
I'm sipping on 1910 Old Forester.
Okay.
I've been like literally doing nothing but drinking and eating pizza since my jiu-jitsu tournament's been over. So I feel terrible, but at the same time, I feel great.
Yeah, time to get back on the horse, dude.
Yeah, I think next week or maybe like Saturday I'll start again. That'll be like a week off, a week of
Yeah,
degeneracy.
sweet. So we can go over that too. But I guess to address the elephant in the room, what did you think of the Bo Nickel nut shot that I didn't even realize happened until at least 2 or 3 days after the fight when I checked Reddit and people were talking about it.
Um, I didn't see it. Let me look up the video.
I couldn't find a video of it because of like I wasn't well, I was looking at it at work and I wasn't really willing to dig. But I did find a YouTube video where a guy was kind of going over the fight, and he had it in like stop motion, I guess, to avoid like copyright just due to recency. And the 3 or 4 frames that he showed, and they weren't consecutive frames, so
Oh, that's like a he grazed him. What?
I don't know, man.
Dude,
Look at his face though, and I get that,
that's Hollywood,
like the
dude. I'm
yeah.
telling you, those diamond MMA cups they wear are like ridiculous. I'm just saying, he grazed him. He grazed him. I'm looking at it right now.
I don't know. I'm of the opinion that I don't know how good those cups are. I haven't done anything with a cup on in like well over a decade. Like fuck, dude. I didn't even wear a cup like my entire time wrestling. Never wear a cup in jiu-jitsu. I think the only time I wore a cup in my sporting career was when I played like t-ball. So that was before even like coach pitch, which I didn't participate in. So that had to be like almost 2 decades ago now. But if they're as good as you say, I can see it. I think like so take soccer for example or football for any European listeners, anyone across the pond.
Footy.
It's pretty fucking easy to tell when those guys are just flopping because there tends to be like like a pause or you can tell that there wasn't really anything going on there. It's just a bit more blatant when you see it from like a bird's eye view as a television viewer. But with that nut shot, thigh shot, call it what you want, he immediately grimaced and was like looking at the ref like I don't know.
Uh,
It wasn't as bad as Gane's, but it did seem, and I didn't even notice it at first, but it certainly seems like there was at least on Nichols' opponent's part, an expectation that there was going to be a stoppage there for a cheap shot, just the way that he kind of grimaced in pain and then looked at the ref. And I don't know how much like a knee to any legal part around the groin, like how bad that would hurt. I would imagine like a knee to the gut would, probably cause a similar facial reaction. But like a knee to the thigh, that's a pretty meaty area, you know? Like is that a bad knee to take?
I don't know. I'm looking at these pictures. I mean, he hit him in the groin area. He did, but
I'm gonna be
it,
honest. I'm in the camp that like I think it would have been a very similar result, groin shot or no groin shot.
but it's the
But
ref's fault ultimately. Like, like sometimes in those clinches, it's like hard to like, you know what I mean? I don't think I wouldn't peg Bo Nickel as like the type to be like malicious. So for me, it's like incidental, and it's the ref shot. Like the refs miss eye pokes
now
and stuff too all the time.
this is probably totally biased, but I'm a huge OSU wrestling fan, right? I like watched through my college career and before and after watched Bo Nickel kind of wrestle like Miles Martin, and that never went Miles Martin's way, right? So I have a thing out for Bo Nickel, but I will say, and this is like I said, could be biased, probably is biased. He's always kind of struck me as like the little snaky, slimy type, and like he's never really done anything blatant. But I
We'll have
do
to
actually
see.
have
We'll
this,
have to see.
dude. I have this picture on my Twitter actually. There's a I took a still shot of I believe it was the NCAA finals. He was wrestling Miles Martin, Bo Nickel was, and there was a moment in the match where Miles Martin kind of had him in either like double unders or double overs, but they were down on the ground, and he rolled up on top of him and pinned him on his shoulders for like maybe a second. It
Oh, you
was
know what? I saw that. I
definitely
saw that. I was watching his highlights. Yeah, I saw that shit.
it was definitely like a one count, and then Nickel came over, like hipped over,
Yeah.
and probably got a reversal. I don't think he exposed his back, but the ref didn't even get down and look at that, and
Yeah.
I think Miles Martin should have been the national champ there, but I digress.
But let's just go through. I didn't watch much of the prelims. I started the first watch. The first fight I saw was Cody Garbrandt versus Trevin Jones. Um, Cody Garbrandt needed that win because he's gotten knocked out bad his last like 3 fights. So he's an Ohio boy. We're cheering for Cody. Good for him. Whatever. Then yeah, the Bo Nickel fight. I mean, I was betting all my friends it was going to be done in under 2 minutes. It was like 2 minutes and 2 minutes and 5 seconds. So
Damn, so you lost.
yeah, I did. I mean, let's be real. He could probably be like a top 10 in middleweight right now, at least. Just
Yeah, so what people were saying, and again, I'm gonna defer to you on a lot of the deep UFC lore here, just given that I'm not as versed, but a lot of people on Reddit were saying that Nickel, his stock is a bit overhyped right now, and that they think Dana's gonna keep putting him up against like easy matchups until he gets into like technical top whatever territory to where you can put a big fight on. Um, I really want to see Bo Nickel just dive straight into the deep end at middleweight
I mean, I
and
think
see
you
what he
can give
can
him a
do.
ranked fighter, and he would dispatch a ranked fight, like 10 to 15, dispatch them easily. Because who's wrestling can counter his takedown, bro? Like nobody. He's ridiculous. Like he doesn't even have to like, and his striking in videos looks good too. But and then like with wrestling, you can just put so much pressure on the other dude. You can just walk the other dude down the whole fight.
Yeah, does who was it? There was I heard on a podcast recently. It's someone that trains with Khabib. That's like a fucking badass wrestler and like consistently beats Khabib in wrestling and practice. Someone was saying that,
I have
and
no
like
idea.
I wanted to say it was someone like Bo Nickel or DC, like some it was an
I mean, it
all-American
was probably
wrestler for sure.
DC, but DC doesn't train
Does DC
anymore. I don't
he
think.
doesn't train anymore?
Yeah, I think he's like all of his whole lower body is like destroyed. So yeah, I don't think he trains anymore. But it was. I mean, when DC and Habib used to wrestle, DC would always win. I mean, because like he's an Olympic wrestler and he's like 60 pounds bigger than Habib. So
Yeah, it's always funny seeing, and this happened with the John Jones fight too, where he came out at heavyweight and just had a little bit of tub on him. Like DC's never really looked just fucking shredded, yoked like a bodybuilder sort of thing. And he is just a brick shit house, and it always amazes me the athleticism on these dudes, and they come out with like a half dad bod. Like especially John Jones, man, he made that look so casual.
Yeah, I mean, just because like abs doesn't equal athleticism necessarily, right? But yeah, I get. I mean, he definitely looked tubby, but he didn't look out of shape or anything.
Yeah, I totally agree that abs doesn't equal athleticism. I mean, you just have to look at there's a bunch of sports where people, aren't cutting weight, but in like wrestling, fighting, like any weight class sport, it's usually, outside of like the highest weight, a lot of really shredded individuals
Right.
that cut, 20 pounds or whatever to make the weight that they're at. And I think John Jones was on like an 8,000 calorie diet or something to
Yeah,
fucking
he was
gain
like he
weight.
basically constantly eating for the last 3 years. So
But yeah, so I'm excited to see what Bo Nickel can do at middleweight. I hope that what I said earlier isn't true and that they don't just keep giving him easy fights and
I mean, he
let him
delivered. Like
rise
he
up
went on the main card and he delivered. So I think he has a lot of capital to use right now.
for
Um.
sure.
All right, let's move on to the next fight. Mateus Gamrot versus Jalen Turner. Dude, I wasn't watching this fight. I was eating pizza and drinking beer during this one, so I wasn't really paying attention. Did you see
Same.
this one?
I did not.
Okay. I will say Mateus Gamrot is like a wrestler, and he's like a good grappler for Islam to challenge at some point. So it's good that he won. Okay, next one: Jeff Neal versus Shavkat Rakhmonov. This is a great fight, actually. Um, what are your did you watch this one or no?
I'm pulling it back up right now to see if I recall these fights. The ones that I really paid attention to were the big three. Tell me what you thought of it, Aaron.
So Shavkat is an up and coming welterweight. He's primarily a striker, and he has this crazy like spinning back kick that knocks people out. But he also like wrestles too. He's well rounded, but a striker. Jeff Neal is another like striker who's like kind of middling skill, I guess. He's just like an average fighter. But this was Shavkat's first real test. Like Jeff Neal was trading with him in the pocket, taking a lot of damage, but he was also hitting Shavkat pretty clean um, in the first 2 rounds. But then, yeah, in the third round, Shavkat took his back and submitted him with a standing rear naked.
Oh, I did see that actually. I saw the very last bit of it, and I was very surprised. How many times has like standing any kind of choke done? Like rear naked Ezekiel.
Not often. The last standing choke
Guillotine's probably the most common, but the
yeah,
other guy's not really standing.
yeah, the last standing choke I saw was Jessica Andrade versus Amanda Lemos. She got her with a standing arm triangle. That was like last summer. Um, and sometimes Charles Oliveira chokes people on their back, like, but he's not standing. He's on their back, and the other person's standing. It's not. It doesn't happen that often. So, but that fight was cool. I think Shavkat is like a good up and coming welterweight. I think he's ranked 15 now. Let me check this. Oh, he's 6. No, he's ranked 6. Yeah, okay. So he was like ranked 15 before. Um, he's definitely in the mix of like people that are like one fight away from a title fight in that division. So he probably has to fight like a Colby or Gilbert Burns or Hamzat before he fights for a title.
Yeah, if Hamzat can make weight, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we don't. Welterweight's kind of weird. So Kamaru, Usman, and Leon Edwards are going to be fighting at the end of this month.
They're both on the pound for pound chart, right?
Yeah, Kamaru's like rank 4, and Leon is rank like 7. Um, but that'll shake. Like if Kamaru loses, then the division will be a lot more exciting. If he wins, then Colby has to fight somebody and then fight Kamaru again. Probably is going to be the title.
Dude, the John Jones stock is so volatile. Fucking shot up 9 on the pound for pound after that fight. Hell yeah.
Yeah, he's ranked 3 now. Last time I checked.
No, John Jones rank 1.
Is he really?
Yeah, they shot him all the way up to 1.
Let me
And
look.
it's hilarious too because oh fuck, who did Volk just lose to? That was
Islam,
Islam, right?
a hot chip.
Yeah. So
Oh, he is
after
ranked
that
1. Holy shit.
after that fight, everyone was saying they're like there was a pretty large debate, but people were like, dude, I think Islam should be number 1 pound for pound. But Volk kept it, right? Everyone's like, yeah, that's not surprising. Like, just given his record and like he's a
I mean,
solid
the
dude,
fact
right?
that like they were both like if you look at the end of the fight, Islam looks beat up and he's huffing and puffing, and Volk looks like he just went through a walk in the park. Like, I don't know, man.
Yeah, yeah. Like I mean,
And
it's
also, he
obvious that
took
he.
Islam down and was beating him up in his closed guard to the end of the 5th round. Like, you're telling me if that wouldn't have gone like 2 more rounds, Volk would have beat him up. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Islam did win the fight, but Volk didn't get beaten, is my storyline.
Yeah, how many times has Islam actually won by decision or lost by decision?
He's never lost by decision. He got knocked out once.
Yeah, and that was I actually saw that recently and like someone was talking about it. They're like, well, Islam's only gotten beat once, and then they showed the highlight, and yeah, kind of unlucky, but it
He
is
has
what it
9
is.
decision wins, 11 subs, and 4 KOs. So he's a submission guy mostly.
Yeah. The fact that Volk, like you said, was able to hang with him and looked like he would go the distance had the fight, not been stopped due to just how many rounds the fight has. I agree that he still remains in the contention for like top spot after that fight. But the point is, people were debating like, oh, is it Volk? Is it Makachev that's taking one? And then John Jones happens, shoots all the way up from like 9 or 10 to 1, just
Yeah,
no question. John Jones, dollar signs.
yeah, for sure. All right, moving on to the next fight, the co-main event, women's flyweight title fight: Valentina Shevchenko versus Alexa Grasso. Valentina is good at everything. She's like a Muay Thai primarily is like her main style, but she can do everything well. Alexa Grasso is primarily a striker. I think Valentina was beating up Alexa pretty bad that
Yep.
whole fight, and then she just had that one spinning back kick that didn't work out against the fence, like I said earlier. Got her back taken, got subbed. I mean, it sucks. I really wanted Valentina to win, like to get that 8th title defense in a row. It would have been awesome, but it didn't happen. So I'm pretty pissed off. So it's gonna basically be an immediate rematch for them because Valentina has that much clout. And then Tyler Santos and Aaron Blanchfield are going to fight, and the winner of that fight is going to be the next person to fight for the title.
Yeah. I have a feeling Valentina's not gonna let that one happen again. So
Yeah, she's not going to do any spinning shit. I have a feeling because
yeah.
she was beating her up bad. Like, let's
Yeah,
be
and
real.
that's the thing. I mean, if you just go into that fight and stick to the fundamentals, go for the decision, like you win every time.
Yeah.
But if something goes wrong, you toss that coin up in the air, and sometimes you don't like how it lands.
Yeah, I don't have any much more else to say on that one other than I was pissed off because Valentina. I really wanted Valentina to win because she's. I mean, she's not the women's goat, but she's like my women's goat. Like her fights are the most fun to watch. She's like the best like aesthetically pleasing female fighter in my opinion. Like her style.
Yeah, she's super hot.
Yeah, that too. And then like Amanda Nunes just like hits people hard. Like I mean that's fun, but like, eh. But Valentina's techniques are all like really really sharp.
Yeah,
Okay.
now if Grasso does, defend against Shevchenko in a rematch and does it in similar, or not similar fashion, but like submits her again and does it in more convincing fashion, I would hop on the bandwagon, invest in the stock.
Yeah, I think if that happens again, Valentina would probably retire because she's like 34, and she really doesn't have anything to prove, like in her career. So I think she would retire if she lost again, personally. But
Yeah. Has there ever been? Oh no, there. I don't believe there has. Has there ever been like a champ in the women's division?
Yeah, Amanda Nunes. She's the champ at bantamweight and featherweight. But I
Oh,
mean, the
for
women's
real?
featherweight division doesn't exist, so it's kind of like, yeah, I don't know. But yeah,
Nice.
Amanda Nunes. To put it, and that's it.
Very good.
But
On to the
yes, on
onto
to
the
the main
main
event.
the main event, which went nut kick, brief pause, brief pause, brief pause, and then John Jones.
Yeah, so John Jones has not stepped into the octagon in 3 years since his last fight with Dominic Reyes in 2020. A lot of people said he lost that fight. I didn't see it, but he definitely didn't look like the prime John Jones who was just running through everybody. And then his opponent Cyril Gane, who's like the next like new breed of heavyweight that's like super athletic, moves fast, was like a technical fighter. Um, Cyril Gane fought Francis for the title last year, and he just basically got wrestled and beat by decision. The odds going into this fight were like almost a pick 'em. I think it was like minus 160 for Jones, plus 150 for Cyril, so it's pretty
Yeah, and
close.
it changed multiple times too before the fight, as I understand it.
Yeah. I always had Jones like destroying Cyril because it's John Jones. He's a savage. He's the
For
MMA
sure.
goat, like undisputed goat of all. Yeah, just So starting off the event, John Jones tries to step into the octagon. His foot's all taped up. They take it off. Apparently, he broke his foot in like the Chael Sonnen fight.
He only took some of it off though.
Yeah, and
They
so
let
like
him keep the
randomly
toe
it like
sticker.
pops out. Um, but yeah, like you said, there was a nut shot, and then they exchange a couple of striking exchanges. Then John backs him up, Cyril up against the fence, does like a little trip, takes him down. He's on his back, circles around to the front. Cyril Gane tries to get up. John Jones sinks in like a weak guillotine.
Very weak guillotine. It was
Yeah,
right on the like jawline,
yeah. But
and
I
then
mean,
he
he was
he
still
like he like
cranking.
he like released it, right?
Yeah,
Releases it and just has his left hand hanging there, and then Cyril Gane kind of like looks up and then like puts his head out and then back down,
yeah.
and
Like
then
he was
Sean
trying to,
Jones is like
get up again, and then John Jones sinks in a really deep guillotine, and then he
very.
taps pretty quick.
He
Um,
could. I think he was actually. Did he? Did he? So he cinched the guillotine with like that left arm. I'm pretty sure he just started pulling up on that left arm, like choking him before he even got his hand with his like other hand. Like it was
yeah,
very deep.
he was cranking on that shit, and then he later, like John Jones said on Instagram, like heard his spine popping on the first one, and he's just like, yeah, I knew I had him then. Um,
Jeez.
yeah, I mean, I knew this was gonna happen. John Jones, like I said, he's the goat. He's a like I was watching all his pre-fight interviews. He had that like psychopath look in his eye. Cyril
Like
Gane,
that Nick
his
Soriano look.
yeah, yeah, that guy. Cyril Gane, he's a good striker, but his wrestling is kind of sus, as we saw again. And like against these kind of dudes, like you can't be sus with your wrestling. You gotta like fight in the middle of the octagon, or like fight against the fence. What you don't want to do is like get stuck in that gray area, and then yeah,
Well, that's where he was the whole time on his feet. He he like circled around once into the center of the octagon, but John Jones had it like
yeah.
the entire time.
I mean, like, cause like the idea of being in the center is like you control the space, and then if he shoots on you, you just like sprawl back to the wall. And then if you're fighting against the fence, you can't. Well, you can be. It's a lot harder to be taken down because you're like propped up against that fence. But yeah, if you're in that middle space, it's not good. What else do I have to take from this fight? I mean, John Jones proved all the doubters wrong. Like he's still John Jones. He didn't get washed up. I think
Who's
he's
next for John Jones?
Stipe Miocic probably, who hasn't
Is
fought since like 2021 or
Well, yeah,
something.
that's what I was just about to ask, and I didn't know if I'd sound stupid, but I haven't heard that guy's name in a while. The last time I heard that guy's name, it was like Joey Diaz mispronouncing it on Rogan.
Yeah, he said what did he say?
Stupid cock.
Yeah, no, he said I can't remember what he said, but it was funny. Um, Stopich or something. Yeah, it was funny. Uh,
Stupid.
yeah, but the last time Stipe fought, he got knocked out bad versus Francis, and he's 41. So I think John Jones is gonna destroy him personally.
So why isn't Francis the next fight for John Jones?
He did not sign a contract renewal with the UFC, because
Oh,
they could
Francis didn't?
no, they couldn't agree on like the terms of the contract, so they let him walk.
Shit, what's he doing now? PFL?
I think what he wants to do is do like a really big boxing fight with Tyson Fury, and
Mm.
get a big paycheck, and then do MMA again. So
Dude, like I think what's happening with boxing recently is very cringe because this is from like an outsider of the sport. Whenever like somebody fights somebody in boxing and it gets hyped up, the first question I ask is like, is this a real fight or is this like a meme fight? And then the second question I ask is like, if it's a meme fight, who is like good at boxing and what's their ability and is this like even something that I should be interested in or watch? Because half the time like Logan Paul or Jake Paul, whichever, I think they both have boxed,
yeah,
but
they both have.
either way, whichever one like just fought like the bigger boxer, pulled like a bunch of dudes from MMA that like are not
Yeah, that's
known for
Jake Paul.
boxing at all.
Yeah,
And it's like, what are you what are you trying to prove here? Is this like you're trying to get clout because this person's like boxing
it's all
adjacent and
about money. It's all about money.
has
Like
some
it's
muscles on them or like would you what about like Lewis Hamilton, like the F1 driver? Would you box him? Like does his name mean anything or do you have to be in combat sport? Like I just don't get it,
yeah,
dude. It
boxing.
really
It's all
confuses
about
me.
money now. So meme fights make more money than real fights, unfortunately, because boxing like ruined boxing because there's too many promotions, there's too many weight classes, and then like dudes won't fight each other. Like the good dudes won't fight each other because in boxing, if you lose once, your career is like over. So yeah, boxing is in like a really bad spot. Basically, the only fights that make money are the the meme fights. So
And it's like the Mayweather fight too. Like there's video footage of him like between the rounds saying like, "Yo, take it easy, bro. Like chill.
yeah, I mean, because it's an exhibition fight. It's
Just an
purely
exhibition,
it's
bro."
and Mayweather's like 46. You know what I mean? It's just like boxing is kind of like I would love to watch boxing if it was real, but other than like Canelo and like Tyson Fury, I
I
guess it's kind of fake.
would rather just watch these guys do the meme fights like in the octagon or like where anything goes. Like box if you want to box, but like
Yeah, they don't
I
want to get
don't know.
exposed to like how like they don't know about MMA. I mean, it's whatever. But yeah, boxing is whack. But there's nothing we can do to fix it.
Yeah. I don't know. That's my tangent. Anything more on the John Jones fight, or should we move to the main event, the Aaron
Yeah.
Jiu-Jitsu?
Let me see. I just hope John Jones doesn't like break any more laws in between this fight and his next fight. So hopefully he
Dude,
has.
I hope he breaks as many laws and does as many drugs and gets in as many controversies as he's allowed to without delaying the amount of time it's going to take for me to see another John Jones
Okay,
fight.
that's fair. To hype up the fight. Yeah, that's fair.
Because despite me hating meme fights, I love me a good fucking meme fight when the memes come from some sort of dolly getting thrown at a bus or, someone jumping out of the octagon to fight. Like that's my shit. Now, but all right, one more tangent actually before before we go into the planned shit. The I've seen some UFC press conferences recently, dude. That shit's cringe. Oh my god, the post McGregor era is like everyone's trying to be McGregor,
Yeah,
and it does not work for like
yeah,
80% of the people that try it.
yeah.
I
The
can. Oh
pre-fight
my
conferences, I
god,
never watch those. They're like almost always terrible.
dude. Like yeah, and the ones that I've seen are like not. I don't watch them live. I just like see them on YouTube every now and again. So there is probably like a selection bias there. But it's the ones with all the fighters like lined up and they have like their belts if they have them or
Yeah,
whatever. Like all the guys that like mean anything, and then everyone has a mic, and then it's just like some like random guy I've literally never heard of, never seen fight, like talking like he's Conor McGregor, and it's like, dude. First of all, you don't pull it off well. Second of all, who, and third of all, like shut up.
Yeah,
Let someone else talk.
yeah, it's whatever. Like, but then if people don't act like Connor, people say they're boring. You know what I mean? You can't win. You can't win.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I think like take Khabib for example. Like he certainly was outspoken sometimes, but like mostly it was his actions that spoke. And he also had like he had his brand, like his fluffy hat and his like Russian dudes and like like he had his thing. But like these other fighters that don't have a thing and are trying to differentiate themselves by taking someone else's thing is like really just kind of cringe.
Yeah. There's nothing you can do about that one either. It's just I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say here. Basically, the pre-fight conferences are just for like those super fans that just want to like have as much UFC content as possible. Basically.
Yeah. And my last comment on the matter is that it really kind of struck me like this is probably not the case, but it really almost seemed like scripted. Like Dana pulled them all back like before the thing and was like, "Hey, yo, I want you to get mad at this guy, and I want you to, take this guy's side, and then you get mad at this guy and kind of do it like in this order, but like just kind of riff off that. All right, guys, ready? 1, 2, 3, break." Like that's what I fucking imagine, and I
I
don't
mean,
know.
it probably does kind of go down like that, but that's what people watch. Like all the Bachelor and Bachelorette, that's all scripted, bro. Like none
Dude,
of that
I've
is real.
never seen The Bachelor, never seen The Bachelorette, and I will not willingly participate in that activity. That is
I'm just saying, like it's all scripted. Like all like reality TV shit is scripted. So yeah. And because there was
is
this
what it
one
is.
dude from like one of those like Alaska survival shows that went on Joe Rogan, and he said like, yeah, I wanted to talk about all this stuff and all this other stuff, and the producers are like, nope, you can only show like you chopping wood and like hunting like moose and stuff, and that's it. It's all scripted, bro. So yeah, I wouldn't doubt that what you're saying is accurate. Where Dana just like, all right, guys, let's but here's what it is.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. The UFC is supposed to be like the authentic, like the if you win, you it's not WWE and there's no real limitations on like what you're allowed to do to like fuck your opponent up and if you win, you're the winner. And then like there's this whole flip side of it where it's like people are getting into yelling matches and
I mean,
like
the
the
pre-fight
winner
press
of the
conference is
argument.
like a small part of the promotion they do. So
Yeah, but I think too like in McGregor's case, we'll say like it really wasn't limited to the pre-fight press
well,
conference.
that's
Like he
okay.
was,
McGregor is like the one outlier. Like literally any pay-per-view where he's on, the sales double. Like nobody else is like that.
yeah. But what I'm saying is like his like thing, like being loud and obnoxious and stuff, kind of carried over to like social media and just like became his thing or whatever. And if these like up and coming fighters kind of like take that road, like they just have this manufactured personality that they're putting on for like any kind of public facing thing they do, and it's like this like yell yell yell,
I mean, people being like nice and respectful doesn't get clicks. Unfortunately, you have to be like obnoxious AF and whatever. That's what gets clicks. So that's just the fact. That's
Yeah.
just like truth. It's unfortunately true. People don't care about like people being nice to each other. They care about like people being annoying.
Dude, I'm gonna start a Russian troll farm and get a bunch of clicks,
Good luck.
sell them to China or something. I don't know.
But yeah, moving on to my tournament, I competed in my first jiu-jitsu competition this last Saturday.
Gi, no gi.
No gi at 145 pounds. I weighed in that morning at like 141, I think, so my natural weight. I went 0 for 4. First dude beat me in a guillotine. He got me in a
Was
scramble.
it was it like round robin
Yeah, it
then,
was round
or
robin, 5-minute rounds.
so did you just have like wait, were there pools and then the winner of the round robin went to like bracket, or was there just like three dudes or four dudes in your?
There's only 10 dudes in my bracket, so it's just like round robin, semifinal, and final.
Gotcha.
But yeah, the first dude got me in a guillotine. Second dude, I got in a mounted triangle. like I didn't cinch it up the right way. He slipped out, and then he ended up. I think he got me like a north-south choke. I gotta look at the film again, but that was like as like time was expiring. He subbed me. Third dude was a bum, bro. I should have beat this dude. Like we had a weird scramble. He got hold of my ankle. Like he wasn't like gonna break it, but there was like a ton of pressure, and I was just like, "Fuck! If I try to rip this out, is my ankle gonna snap?" So I tapped because I was like, you know what, whatever. And then the fourth dude, I was so tired. Uh, I had like a very half baked like shot, and then
How
just
many time do they give you? How much time do they give you between
it was like
like
10 minutes in between
matches?
each match, so I was pretty
Oh
tired by it.
wow, yeah, dude. In wrestling, or at least in like high school wrestling, they have to give you 45 minutes, and if they try to like get you on the mat before then, you're allowed to delay it
Yeah,
until
I mean
45
this
minutes is
tournament is like
expired.
pretty casual, so it's not like
Wait, was it the Arnold?
yeah, I was at the Arnold.
Damn, Arnold's casual. I
I
thought that was
mean,
like a big
yeah,
tournament.
it was like the setup was super whack, bro. It was just like there was no space for anything, and the refs. Oh no, I forgot to add this. Like my third match, the dude jumped guard on me, and that in at white belt, that's illegal. Like you get DQ'd for that move, but the ref didn't DQ him. So I was like, what the fuck?
What's jumping guard? Is that like doing it really fast?
It's like you literally jump close guard around the other person as they're standing up.
Oh yeah, that's kind of whack.
It is whack because you can break somebody's knees doing that if they don't react the right way. So yeah, I should have like looked up in the ref and be like, "Yo, this is illegal. What the fuck?" But yeah. Overall, my goal was to win like one match, which I almost did. If I like cinched up my mounted triangle, like I tried to go forward and like just sink it in, but what I should have done was gone backward and like adjusted a little bit. Um, yeah, Oh yes, I didn't do the fourth match. Basically, the fourth match, I was so tired, bro. I did like a half baked shot, like, and he sprawled on me and just mounted me and like put me in an arm triangle. So, and I was too tired to try to get out. So, um,
Damn.
it is what it is. Like I said, my goal was to win one. I came pretty close. I definitely got some holes in my game exposed. I think my guillotine defense needs work. Um, I just need to shoot. I need to shoot more because I watched the film yesterday on all my matches. These guys were so free. I was like respecting my opponents too much. Does that make sense? Like
Yeah.
I
I
just
don't know.
needed to
I
like.
think shooting. I don't know. Like, all right. So I think I probably said this before to either you or on the podcast, but I didn't take many shots as a wrestler, and I think that really held me back. Well, really, I think my injuries held me back the most, but I digress. Anyway, in wrestling, I think shooting and developing a very good shot and hammering it off as much as you can is like advantageous because you really don't have too much to lose. Like realistically, it's like yeah, if the guy gets a really good sprawl on you, they can maybe get behind you if
Yeah,
they're savvy. But like realistically, you should be able to recover from a shot that you take, and if you can't, you like missed really hard or they're
yeah,
really good or some combination of the two. But in jujitsu, shots are like way more easily abused because you can give up your back.
yeah,
Um, in MMA, it's even worse because like if you have two hands on my one leg shooting a single, my two hands are free, or I can use one hand to kind of control your two hands. And my other hand is like free to smack you in the face a
yeah,
bunch. But in jiu-jitsu, it's a little more forgiving than that at least. I think at least just developing like offense from standing, whether it's duck unders or snapping them down into a headlock, or because like the headlock is where I lived, and in jiu-jitsu, I love living there because you can snap them down into a headlock, right? Say they don't want to snap down into a headlock, well now when they lift their head up or whatever, you can just take a shot easy.
yep,
Say they do snap down into a headlock, well now I'm looking for guillotines, I'm looking for darces, I'm looking to spin behind, I'm looking for ankle picks.
yeah, yep, yep,
Um,
yep. No,
I'm looking
I need to shoot
for
more. That's period. I just need to start shooting more. Yeah, like I think the first guillotine like that happened to me like made me gun shy. Like I was like, fuck, like I don't want that to happen to me again. So I was like really, I didn't shoot the whole match, any of my matches, because like the first dude that guillotined me, it was like in the first 10 seconds of the match. So But like I said, I learned a lot. I'm definitely gonna compete again, just because I need to I need to get at least one competitive W. So um,
Yeah, for sure. It's a good experience. I feel like it really like brings out the best in you because like in the practice room like sparring is one thing, but when you're like really competing and you're in that bracket
yeah, it's
format or
different.
whatever and you can't
It's
lose, it's
pretty different.
different. It's like free soloing versus like climbing a rope like with a rope. It's
Yeah,
like
like the first mistake you make could be the whole match. Yeah, so um, I also have some romance updates too. So he's
well,
going
real
to
quick before we get into that, I
okay.
had so at the Arnold, what's like if you're like just a fucking like savage, like what do you compete in? Is it like would you compete in black belt your weight class, or is there like an open division where like no weight class, no
It's
belt?
called absolute, where there's no weight classes, no belts. So
Yeah, so
that's where
who were
the best
like
people go.
did you get to watch any of those matches?
No, they did them in the morning, and I started like in the afternoon. But I watched a bunch of my
Oh,
buddies at the gym compete. So, but yeah, the
yeah.
absolutes are crazy. Like, yeah.
So how many people do you know were in like that bracket? Like was it like a good 64 man, or were they still doing the pools, or how did
It was all pool. There's no brackets for any of it. I can look. Um,
so what do they do? Just as many like 5-man pools as necessitated, and then
no, it was like a
run.
round robin and then bracket basically.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But the pools are gonna all be round robin, and then the winner of each pool, or the 1 and 2, goes to like a 8-man bracket or 4-man bracket or something.
Let's see. Absolute. Oh, it looks like there wasn't that many people that signed up for the absolutes. Only 10 people in each absolute division.
So
That's
what are the divisions of those weight classes?
yeah. There's weight classes and belt and gi and no gi. There was a ton of
No,
people
but
that
you
signed
said
up.
absolute. I
Absolute
was
is
under the
open weight.
impression
Is open weight.
an open belt.
Yeah, and open belt. Yep, yep, yep.
Okay, so there's no absolute divisions. There's just absolute.
Yeah, yeah. My bad.
Okay. Yeah, that was the confusion. Okay. And I'm assuming there were a shit ton of people that just competed at their belt at their weight.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They were the biggest divisions were 170 and 185. At all belts and all ages. Oh yeah, it was by age too. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, 170 and 185. A lot of MFers in those
It'd
divisions.
be it'd be interesting to get in jiu-jitsu again and go to a tournament like that because obviously, you have to start at like white belt or whatever, but I feel like it'd be at a bit of a unfair advantage over a lot of the like average
I
white
mean,
belters.
I would give you a blue belt. I think just like show up to some gym with a blue belt and they won't question it.
uh,
I'm telling, do not. Yeah, I mean, you're not a white belt. Like, let's put it this way. So,
yeah, my sensei Edward Gracie in the Amazonian rainforest gave me this blue belt.
just say you're a blue belt, and then say you went to like the OSU Jiu-Jitsu club, and they'll believe you.
Dude, they would call up Mike, and then Mike would be like, "Bo? No, that motherfucker hit me in a guillotine and wouldn't let go. Fuck that guy. He's not blue."
I mean, yeah, I don't know. Belts are fake anyway. It's all fake.
Do you remember who was it? I've been watching these UFC press conferences lately. There was the one guy that was like, it might have been fucking Makachev, uh, that was or
Yeah, yeah. It was
Kamzat,
like
the
they
Kamzat,
need to get no. It
Chimaev.
was Islam. He said like people need to get their belts checked.
No, 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 it was Kamzat. It
Oh,
was a
okay.
different one. The one that you're saying was really funny, and I want that. I want you to send me that clip again so I can show it to people because I
Okay.
can't do it justice. But no, it was Chimaev, and he was saying to whoever he was fighting in this one, and he ended up knocking him out. But he was like, "You have black belt, right? You have black belt. Your wrestling it sucks, very bad, right? So if I submit to you, you give me your black belt." And the other guy was like, "Dude, you have a blue belt." He's like, "Yes, I have blue belt. If I submit to you, you give me black belt and you quit UFC."
Yeah, I mean, belt is like supposed to be like not who can beat who. It's like your relative knowledge of the art.
Yeah,
But it's
but
all
dude,
fake.
it's
It's all
still
fake though.
no. So the clip that you just sent me, where it's like Islam is like, we have to cancel so many black belts. Like,
That
where do
clip
you
is
get
so
this, brother?
funny.
Where do you get this? It's like, dude, that's so true. It's like everyone everyone in the it's like what you're telling me, like, oh dude, you're good enough, just say you have a blue belt. That's what they say to anyone that's in the UFC. They're like, oh dude, you're in the
Yeah.
UFC,
No,
you're good enough,
MMA
just say you have
MMA
a
belts are
black
super
belt.
fake. MMA
Just
belts
say
are the
you have a
most
black
fake.
belt, dude.
Yeah. MMA belts are quite fake. But basically it's exposing jujitsu's weaknesses is like jujitsu works if like you and me play jujitsu against each other. But what if you just want to stand up? Like I take you down, you don't play guard, you just stand up. Then what? My
Well,
jiu-jitsu
yeah,
literally doesn't
so
work.
there's different so jujitsu, I'm gonna use the term grappling instead, which is like synonymous in some people's minds, but realistically encompasses a lot more than just jujitsu. So grappling equals rectangle, jujitsu equals
Yeah,
square
right.
sort of thing. Um, there are forms of grappling or like I don't want to say leagues, but like people who practice like grappling with a handgun, for example, grappling with a
Jeez.
knife, like actual grappling that you would use in like a self-defense scenario or a street fight. Because I was gonna make this comment earlier, but when you were explaining like jumping guard to me, I was gonna say like, dude, if someone tried that out in the streets, I'd just knee him in the nuts and
I
start
mean,
like
yeah, you
curb
would,
stomping him.
but I
Like that's
couldn't
that's
do that.
cringe as fuck. If someone tried that in a fight, I'd want to knee him in the nuts and start like curb stomping him. That's super. I always hated the little 102-pound Chinese guys that would just sit on their backs. They knew I was a wrestler and wait for me to walk up to them. And
Just
then, like,
kidding.
within 5 seconds, I'm in a spider's web. And then in
Yeah.
15 seconds, I'm strangled. So
Yeah.
I think, like, taking that a step further, just running at me like a fucking spider monkey, like, I have no love in my heart for that. Fuck you.
Yeah. It's no bueno.
Oh, but yeah, so there's certainly like jujitsu that will only work in jujitsu, but there's a lot of jujitsu and a lot of wrestling that like has applications outside. And I think just knowing like how you're liable to get fucked up in a street fight sort of thing, like, are there multiple people there? Does he have a weapon on him? Okay, check box one, check box two, and then you're thinking like, all right, there's no referee here, so like, what's he allowed to do
Yeah,
now? And
basically it's
like,
like whoever gets most animalistic first is gonna win. Like who's gonna eye gouge and bite first.
no, but even knowing all those dangers, if someone's like, well, all right, so bites are one thing. That's like fucking, I hit you with I'm trying to think of like a good RuneScape analogy. I imagine like PKing and I pull out my toxic staff and like accidentally staff bash you and it hits you like an 18 or something and you're like, ow, that kind of hurt. But then you start taking that venom damage. That's what a human bite does,
Yeah.
dude. Like in the moment, it's not anything
But like
crazy,
eye
but
gouging is
human.
like nut shots and stuff though.
Yeah, which is yeah. Here, let me get back to that in a sec. But the human bite is like really dirty, so like you're gonna get some sort of infection, which that
For
would piss
sure.
me off the most. But no, so like in a street fight, right? There's all these dangers that are present that aren't present in a UFC fight or in a jiu-jitsu match, and just knowing roughly like what those things are and how they're gonna happen to you like in your mind that should you know that game Guess Who where you fucking put down the people after you ask a
Yeah,
question,
yeah, yeah.
like in your mind a bunch of jujitsu moves should do that, like, oh, can't do this now, can't do this now, can't do this now, like laying on my back, obviously don't want to do that,
Yeah,
he's
don't
not
do
going to
that.
engage me in guard, like,
They're just gonna kick
I
you in the
don't I
gut.
don't I
Yeah.
don't know how to strike, but maybe throw some punches to keep him like far away, wait for him to come in and then bull rush double like
Yeah.
ground and pound, like, you know what I mean? So there's different strategies, but there's a lot of carryover and just like having common sense and knowing like what might happen in a street fight, I think really kind of guides you as far as like which jujitsu moves are valid.
Yeah. I mean it that's why like you can't rely on any one thing. You kind of got to be smart and then got to have skills to take people down, get away from people. You don't want to tangle up with people cuz what if the dude pulls out a knife? What if he pulls out of a gun? Like what if his girlfriend or buddy steps it? Like you don't know. There's too many variables.
Yeah, well that's what I'm saying. Like jiu-jitsu is never going to be your first option in a street fight, um unless you know like 100% for sure no one else is going to join, because like the moment you're on the ground, if you're outnumbered, you're getting
You're
kicked,
getting
and that's
curb
just
stomped. Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
yeah, that's just the reality of the situation. So you could be Bo Nickel, you could be fucking any other crazy wrestler, Kyle Snyder. Fuck, you could be Francis Ngannou, Alistair Overeem, like any of these massive guys, and like once you get, two, three random like hoodlums or something, if you take one down, you're like you're just not winning that.
Right.
It's like 0 out of 100.
Yeah, so I think like judo, boxing, and wrestling would be like my top three self defense art. Because judo, you just throw somebody onto the ground, they're not getting back up. Like onto the concrete, bro, they're not getting up. And if they are, they're gonna be dazed and confused. And then you
Yeah,
just
I'd
throw them
say
again,
I'd
it's
say
over.
wrestling. I'd say wrestling, kickboxing, and rock climbing because it's fun,
Yeah,
and
for
you don't need
sure.
a third. You don't need a third, so you
You
can
can
just
just
burn it.
climb over the wall next to the dude. Get
Yeah,
away.
dude. No, no, dude. All right. Unironically, but still ironically, wrestling, kickboxing, and parkour.
Yeah, no, I no like
Cross
the smartest
country, by the way.
the smartest self defense is get away. Seriously,
Exactly.
because you just don't know what the fuck's gonna happen in a street fight. You don't know.
Yeah, and then there's like the other variable too. I've heard like lawyers kind of talk about this from their perspective, and it's like, even if you're morally in the right, like, what if you hit that guy, knock him unconscious, and then like after he's unconscious but still falling down, he hits his head on something, he's
Yeah.
dead. It's like, all right,
Yep.
manslaughter. Like, there's no, it's
Especially
not a
in like in New
self-defense.
York City, apparently. Like if you're getting robbed and like you like punch a guy, he hits his head on the concrete, you're going to jail.
Well,
So
all right, that's fucked up. But I was talking the situation I was talking about would be like a bar fight or like some sort of scuffle or sort of
right.
mutual sort of thing. But like if someone's aggressing on you, that's gonna be the last thing running through my mind is like, oh shit, manslaughter charge. No, dude, it's like get away or turn into an animal. I mean, those
Yeah,
are your
I
two
mean,
options.
I don't know. It's everything's whack. But yeah. So romance update.
Romance update. Let's hear it.
I asked out a girl from the gym, and she said she wanted to be buddies, so that's a no go. Well, I mean, no, I mean, I'm good. I don't need any more buddies. I got buddies. Um, and then there's some prospects at church maybe that I'm trying to explore those options, but yeah.
Nice.
So we'll see where that goes. But yeah, girl from the gym. I don't know. I wish it would have worked out, but clearly it didn't. So
Yeah, I think my advice to people like asking where to search for the your soulmate sort of thing is like you want to find clubs or something that you guys are mutually interested in. But now that I'm thinking about it, there like is no world where I'd want to be like doing jujitsu with my or like I don't know. I feel like that'd be awkward, especially in the setting I was in where it was like it wasn't 50-50, but like there were a lot of women there and like sometimes you would end up rolling with a woman and luckily there were no woman killers in the gym that humiliated me, but um I found it very awkward to like there were like one or two prospects in the gym and like the fact that I was like rolling with them I was like dude I don't want to turn this awkward
I mean,
like with a yes or a
I
no.
mean,
It's just
I
like
like I didn't like it wasn't like we trained together like one time. It was like it was like I knew her like decently well. I would say so.
no, if
It
you're
was
if you're able to like if you don't have that like mental barrier,
no,
all the
I don't.
power
I
to
mean,
you.
like
I'm
for
not saying that that's something like if
yeah,
I observed it happening with two other people, I'd be like, oh my God, that's so weird. No, it was
nah,
just
it
for
wasn't
me
weird. It wasn't
personally,
weird.
it would have turned really weird really fast, and I was like, yeah, I'm not about that.
Yeah,
So
I mean, for me, like I'm pretty small, so like I roll with women, like I think more than most dudes do, and it's really not awkward at all. Like,
no, it's not awkward at all. But like when you
I
so
know what you're trying to say though. Yeah,
yeah, like
I get it. I get it.
once you make that like engagement, like you like I don't know how else to put it, but basically, so all right, if you're rolling with a female, the lay observer is gonna look at that and think about sexual
Yeah,
stuff
I mean,
and
yeah,
like be weirded out. Now, I don't think like that. I think most people, even most females that do like jujitsu that are like not totally new to the sport, probably don't think like that. But once you make an advance, just like, hey, you want to go out for coffee or whatever, sometimes, like in today's society, there is albeit is slight to it exist on a spectrum. There are sexual undertones there, and to like put that out there and to either get like a even a yes or a no, and what if that yes turns into something and you like break up or whatever? Like to me, I just didn't want to go down that route, so I was like, yeah, I'm good. I'll stay single.
yeah. I don't know. I feel like I just had to try it one time, uh, just because. But I mean, it didn't make anything weird in between us or anything, so it's all good. But yeah. Well, I mean, this. Hold on, I gotta pee really bad. I'll be back in like 30 seconds. I gotta blow my nose too. I'm all congested.
All right,
Give
I'll
me 30.
solo sode until then. Do like a weekly update or something. You may think. All right, so recently some happenings in the Bow universe. Um, so I'm a float MA, right? Go around to a bunch of different clinics. Probably said this before, but I was recently at this family medicine kind of like primary care clinic for quite a while, like 4 months or something, because they had a longer term shortage. But one of their doctors left to take care of some like family matters in China, um, and they don't need me anymore. So I'm like, back to my regular job, which is kind of cool and new and weird. Um, the good news is I was there so long that they started piling extra responsibilities on me, so I'm free of those now. But the bad news is I don't have a steady home, which is, I was used to that before.
Okay, I'm back.
And then also, oh, I'm solo soding real quick. Let
Okay.
me finish this off. Also, I went part time at work, or am going part time with like a week on full time and then week off schedule. So I have a lot more time to like rock climb. And I'm gonna like start seriously learning Russian instead of doing it once per week sort of thing. So I'm excited for that. I bought a white ink pen marker sort of thing to write the Russian letters on my keyboard because I'm in the so what made me quit Duolingo or like quit doing it seriously, and this is cringe that you can't turn it off. So if there's any Duolingo programmers like listening that can send me like a mod pack or like fucking actually influence the software, like please listen closely. So eventually you get to a point in like the language learning where they make you start typing out like your answers, right? Like in Russian or in Spanish or whatever, in Chinese. Now, I get that typing is a valuable skill and that like writing is a valuable skill, but I also think that so like for instance, when you're like learning English or like any of these other foreign languages, there's like a different course taught in school for like typing than there is like grammar and spelling and like all this other shit. So I don't think I should be expected to learn how to type on my keyboard, which is like a QWERTY keyboard, in Russian
Yeah.
while learning Russian. Like I just want to learn Russian. So the fact that I can't turn that off really turned me away from it and made me not want to continue until I thought of like, okay, what if I just buy like an English Russian keyboard? And I thought even better, like, all right, what if I just buy some markers and write it on my keyboard because there's space on each key. So that's what I'm gonna do. Hopefully, I can get back into it. But like the thing is, I can't be on my phone all the time at work. So like I can switch to Russian keyboard on the phone, and that's not really a problem. But also, the phone Duolingo is like so much worse than the online one because you have like the hearts, and you only get, you can get more hearts like for free, but it's like
Yeah,
makes you review
it's pretty
stuff that you
whack.
already know. And I think it's way better, way more effective, way more self-directed on the computer. But the fact that it's making me type in Russian and my only real option right now on the computer is like on-screen keyboard really turns me off. So I'm excited to get back into that. I'm gonna start, reading some more books and filling. I really want to fill my free time with climbing, but obviously, given that it's spring, especially, there's gonna be weeks where the weather's not good and getting outside just isn't an option. So it'll be like, gym training plus just like self-improvement and leisure activities. So I'm very excited for that. Also have to go back through the PA school like application cycle because I'm on two wait lists right now, but I'm pessimistic. I don't think I'm gonna move off the wait list, so I'm gonna start prepping for that, which basically just involves taking a medical terminology class online, which is like asynchronous, self-directed. So gonna get signed up for that here soon. And then I feel like I had one more thing to share. Oh, so minus the work stuff this week. My girlfriend is in town for like spring break, so she's like just chilling right now. But we're gonna go down to Red River Gorge this weekend, and we're driving separately, but we're gonna meet my buddy Alex and his wife Megan down there. Um, and I'm not bringing an extra harness, but I'm gonna let him use my harness, or Anna will let him use hers. But we're gonna get him up this like really classic, it's really easy. So it's a 5.6, which is like a V, like less than a V1
Oh,
probably,
okay.
if that means anything to
Yeah.
anyone out there. But it's this like mega classic. Like you get a lot of exposure and you can see over the trees, and like all the holds are really cool and the moves are fun. It's like this really classic route in the red called Eureka. And like the hike in isn't bad. So I'm gonna get him up that route and try to convince his wife to get up that route. I'm gonna have my girlfriend peer pressure her. Hopefully she gets it. But it's like a route that's so easy that I'm like I'm gonna bring some extra climbing shoes, but I'll just offer them as like an option versus like make them put because it's like yeah, there's not microchips for your feet or anything. So I'm excited to do that. I'll probably just lead it, set up a top rope, and let them because on top rope there's like you're not gonna fall anywhere basically. You'll only fall uh like as far down as like the rope stretches because there's no slack in the system. So it's like super safe and I'm stoked to get them up, rock climbing. But then they're interested in hiking too. So I was looking at some of the hikes down there, and there's this like 3.5 mile hike called Indian Staircase where you do a bit of like class 3 or class 4 scrambling, which is like climbing's like class 5, like technical climbing. So it's like stuff that if you fucked up really, really bad and like had a seizure and fell, you might die, sort of thing. Like there's
Gotcha.
enough exposure and height, but it's like easy enough that you're just kind of crawling up it. So hopefully we can do something like that. But they're bringing their dog down and then leaving later that day, which is gonna be Saturday, and then we're gonna camp Saturday night and climb up it on Sunday. And I'm gonna do. Hopefully we can get over to the Chocolate Factory, which is a crag down
Ooh.
there. Yeah, all the problems or all the routes, I guess they're called because they're sport routes, or like they're like Willy Wonka references, so it's kind of
Oh,
cool.
that's
But
funny.
it's like a really I don't know enough about Red River Gorge to tell if it's like one of the best crags down there. But the two hardest problems, which are like 514C and 514D, are right next to each other, like in this crag, which is like a huge wall. But there's also a lot of like kind of milder stuff that's still like really classic and like somewhat hard. So I'm gonna see if I can't do like my first outside 512, or at least check off some 11s at the Chocolate Factory on Sunday. But should be a good weekend. And my monologue has thus commenced, or thus, what's the fucking
Concluded.
opposite of commenced? Concluded. Yes, sir.
But yeah, going back to my romance update. I mean, I did get the girl from the gym. I did get her number though, so I mean, I guess it's like a moral victory. We texted like a little bit, but like I said, I'm not really. I mean, she's cool. Like, I'm just not looking for buddies right now specifically.
Yeah. Are you still doing the running club?
Nah, dude, I kind of stopped doing that once jujitsu started back up, or after my injury healed.
Oh yeah.
I mean, and plus it's cold. I think maybe in the summer I'll start doing it again. Plus, like I was drinking after, like drinking too much after because the beer was so cheap. So like, I mean, it was like $2 beers. Like, yeah, I can't control myself around $2 beers. So it is like the beer drinking would cancel out the running. So it's like at that point, I might as well just not.
The net
Um,
neutral.
but yeah, so romance update continued. This girl from church was like, "Yo, my dating pool is only dudes that go to this church that are single." I'm like, "Well, that's only like 5 dudes, so like my odds are pretty good." So she's like a prospect now that I'm trying to work on. I mean,
That's
one in
awesome.
five odds. Like you really can't beat that. You really can't. And I think she was
Well,
being
that's 1 in 5
serious.
odds before you start talking to her too. That's if
Yeah.
you guys are all randos.
Right. I mean, all those other dudes are cool too. Like, no hate, but dude, 1 in 5 odds, bro. Like, that's solid.
Yeah,
Um,
but none of them grapple. So,
true. So I could definitely like destroy them all. But
do you have cauliflower ear yet?
dude, no. My left ear like always hurts. Is that like a sign that it's
No,
coming?
it'll get super fucking like huge. Like it'll get really, really big and it'll be like super puffy. It has all that like blood and shit in there.
Awesome.
And then you can either like keep draining it or you can get it like cut open and like stitched basically so it doesn't keep filling back up. But after that it'll harden. So like all right, so if you want to get the biggest ears possible, I think what you do is you fuck up your ear or whatever and then it fills up with all that fluid and you just like let it sit there and like don't drain any of it for a while
Yeah.
because then all that shit like starts hardening up or whatever. And then I don't know. I guess you could like drain it later. But like the way we always managed them in wrestling was, and looking back at this, I don't know where the fuck he got the medical supplies to do this, but our coach would pull up with a fucking like 5 mil syringe, and well, no, dude, I think it was big. It was probably like a 10 mil syringe. This thing was huge, and I don't even know what gauge needle. He'd slap that fucker on and then just like have you standing up, be like, all right, hold still. I don't even know if he used an alcohol pad,
Ugh,
dude. Holy shit.
that's bad.
Oh my
That's
god,
bad.
dude, these are great memories. I love this. So yeah, he would just plunge that fucker in and like pull the shit out. Most I ever saw was I feel like there was this dude, Jacob Gober, that used to wrestle. Like this dude wrestled like all through youth, and then I think there was a spat in high school where he like quit and like got all rebellious and then maybe came back. But I don't know. Anyways, he was like a wrestling OG where we were wrestling, and he was like the first of us to get this cauliflower ear, and this shit blew up so big that coach put the needle in there, pulled it out. We got like 3 mils of like blood
That's
and
nasty.
shit out of that dude's ear. Yeah, and it was just like it didn't look like like a 600 pound person that like lost a bunch of weight flappy, but like it was like a little flappy.
That's gross.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. If it looks really bad, I'll get it trained. If it looks like medium, honestly, fuck it. I don't care. We'll see
Yeah,
though.
I didn't ever get it like super bad. I just got it on like the inside part, so like my whole ear didn't blow up. Because like when you're looking at like someone's ear, like the very outside of the ear, and let me pull up like ear anatomy, outer ear anatomy labeled. I'll try to get the anatomical. Okay, so the helix of the ear and the anti-helix, maybe,
Okay.
like the outer part of it, like disappears, right? So the
Yeah.
fossa of the anti-helix, the fossa of the ear, kind of blows up, and then that inward curve that you have at like the very top of your ear, like disappears and bulges out. So you just have this like fucking balloon of an ear, right?
Yeah.
Well, once that gets drained, you kind of lose that helix. Like it gets all hardened up, and there's not really like a crease there in your ear anymore. And that looks like really obvious and like gross or whatever to some people, but mine only occurred on like
The inner part,
the
or like the
the
middle part. Yeah.
it was like the inferior aspect of the fossa. So not it didn't blow up enough to get up into that helix and like deform it. So I only have like this hard part, and I got it addressed like with outpatient surgery. Basically, he just well, it wasn't even it was a procedure, we'll say, not a surgery. He
Yeah.
just cut
Yeah.
it open and put the few stitches through it with a cotton swab, and so it theoretically that's the best you can do to like reduce that kind of hardening effect afterwards. And I just have a little bit of hardness kind of where that fossa lies, but not up into the helix. So
And for those
there's some
listeners, the
dudes.
helix is like the outer part of your ear that's like a little curved like
Yeah,
lip, and
I
then
tried to explain that, but we
yeah,
can
I,
send.
a picture.
Well, just look up
Maybe that
look
could
up
be the
outer
thumbnail.
ear anatomy labeled. Just
Yeah.
Google that,
Yeah. Yeah, the
and you'll
helix
see
is
what I'm
like the
talking
lip
about.
on your outer part of your ear. The fossa is like that little like divot in the front of your ear, and then the anti-helix is like the little like ridge in the middle. Um, but yeah, I don't have that shit yet, but my ear definitely hurts like all the time, so we'll see.
Yeah, that's probably on your way.
Great. Dude, speaking of like things that make you look worse, I'm getting more bald. Like if you look on the look up the Norwood chart, I'm like Norwood 3
I
vertex.
love the Norwood chart,
Dude,
dude.
I'm like Norwood 3 vertex now. There's like
All
a
right,
little.
here. I have some great images for you,
Oh my
Aaron, because
goodness.
you're a little better with words than I am. So here's that ballooning effect that
Oh,
I
that's
talked
nasty.
about.
That's nasty, bro. That's gross.
Yeah, there's that ballooning effect. And then here on the very left-hand side, you can see what I mean by losing the helix.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
just
yeah, yeah,
bulges out. So mine on that
yeah.
bottom image kind of looks like the right-hand side if it was way, 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 way more mild. Like I didn't lose that helix.
Yeah,
So
cauliflower ear. I mean, like, I honestly, I don't really care, but like for like normal people, they're probably like, "What the fuck is wrong with your ear,
no, dude, there's
bro?"
a lot of people. It's fucking weird. There's a lot of people that like, and especially overseas in other countries that like see it as like a sign of like respect of like a warrior, like a fighter, and in like America. there's probably a lot of people that think it's weird and
Yeah,
disgusting.
it's like, what
But
the fuck is
I've
wrong with his ear?
I've never heard that voiced to me, right? The only thing I've ever heard like voiced is like people without even like asking about my ear will just like start asking about like wrestling or something
Yeah.
like that. Like I had this guy like
It only
literally
matters. It only
two.
matters for like what do the women think. That's the only thing that matters. I don't care about what the dudes think. To be honest.
Yeah, well, I'd be surprised if Anna's even ever noticed it. Well, I don't know.
No,
Maybe I
she for
think
sure
it's
has noticed it, bro. One hundred
way more
percent.
mild than it actually is. I don't even notice it anymore
I
unless I
mean,
like
that's
put
because
my
it's attached to you. Like,
yeah. But so anyway, where was I getting at though? There was something that I
respect
have one
for other
point.
countries, something, something.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So in other countries, people see it as like respect or whatever. I had this patient come in like 2 days ago, maybe yeah, it was 2 days ago, and just like ran, and I figured it had to be because of my ear. Like, coincidentally, I was wearing a wrestling shirt, but it was like under my like work jacket, so you couldn't see that. But like he just asked like, oh, so how long did you wrestle? And I was like, kind of took a second to think, and I'm like, wait, how does he know I wrestled? Like, does this guy know me? Kind of went through that in like 2 seconds, and I was like, oh, whatever. Wrestled from first grade to like senior year of high school. And we started talking about that, but it had to be because of the ear, and it's weird because I don't really notice it on other people unless it's pretty like obvious, and yeah. The best look, dude, is the bilateral auricular hematomas or cauliflower ear, where like the dudes has it like real bad and their ear fucking like sticks out on both sides and it looks
Oh,
like
like I
Mickey
think Bo
Mouse.
Nickel kind of has that actually.
Dude, I love that. That's based.
Let me see the.
Yeah, he does, I think.
Yeah, Bo Nickel's ears are like elephant ears. They're big.
Yeah, but he doesn't even have like some of these pictures. All right, so on that left, yeah, no, he has it pretty bad. Yeah,
I mean,
select Bo
his looks pretty
Nickel.
bad, bro. But like honestly,
Yeah,
like I didn't. I don't even notice that shit. Like I don't know. Like yeah, I
that's
just.
that's the look, dude. That's
That's
awesome.
like
The
the don't fuck with me
bilateral, just
look.
like like never worn a piece of headgear in my fucking life look.
Dude, I was listening to this interview with him, and he said, like, he was wrestling when he was like 7 years old, and somebody pinned him, and they had a shirt the next week that said "I pinned Bo Nickel" when he was like 7. So
That's funny.
yeah. Um, Trying to think what else. I mean, yeah. So we'll see how it goes with this girl from church. I mean, I don't. There's not really many ways to interpret my pool is only dudes that go to this church. I mean, she said that like pretty seriously. I was like, at the moment, I was like, okay, but I was like, fuck, that I fumbled the bag, Bo. I fumbled the bag.
Dude, you should have hit her with a line like something. You'd have had to think of it on the spot, make it slick, but something along the lines of like you can knock out, trying one of
Yeah.
those
No, dude, no.
prospects.
I'll tell you what the problem was.
No, so you should have said something like, oh, you can turn that 1 in 5 into a 1 in 4, or better yet, how about just a 1 out of
Yeah,
1?
dude, no.
You, me, coffee, Tuesday.
No, you're totally right. But the problem was, I didn't know she broke up with her boyfriend. Cause like, so this was like 2 weeks ago, right? In like February, she broke up with her
Hmm.
boyfriend in December, and I thought they were dating this whole time. But 'cause, like, I didn't put two and two together because I haven't seen him for like 2 months. I didn't know what he was like. It didn't cross my mind. But then I learned she broke up with him, and then she said that in like the span of like 35 seconds, and I didn't. I was like, yeah, I just didn't know what to say. I was like, all right. So
Yeah.
we'll see. We'll see what happens. I mean, we'll see. We'll see. It's definitely at least it's keeping me like interested and motivated. You know what I mean? I need like some kind of intrigue to keep me like motivated to do things. So um, I guess that's it from me. I have no other real updates.
Yeah. How's the work situation?
It's chill. Everything's chill now. So
Are you still at the same place?
I am.
Have you quit putting in job applications elsewhere, chill?
Yeah, I think. I mean, as long as I have like my same manager and same team, like I really can't get any better job than this, realistically, because I like my manager and my team right now, and that's like the main thing about a job is like the people that are in it, in my opinion. So
Yeah, and that's what I was saying before you came back. I've been at this like primary medicine clinic for quite a while now. Despite me being like a float, like a fill-in medical assistant, like 4 months sort of a while, right? So like pretty long. And recently one of their doctors like had to leave to go take care of some family issues. Um, and like she like flew back to China sort of thing. So she's out for a while and they just like don't need an extra MA, so I'm back like floating around the places. And it sucks because like you get to know people and like you can like dude. So while I was there, um, dude, there was literally like I was there so long like compared to everybody else that there was a day that I was the most senior medical assistant working with like four medical assistants working, right?
Yikes.
Like the office manager left and she's technically like a certified MA, so she left to go do something with her house. And the head MA, whose name is Star, she had to go somewhere too. So the whole afternoon it was like me, um, and yeah, at least three other MAs, and I was like, oh damn, I'm like the most senior one here. That's kind of weird. But anyway, so while I was there, they hired on this dude Brian, who I knew from cardiology when I was like floating in cardiology, and I guess he just got sick of it there and went to work at that primary care clinic. So like we already got on real well, and it was just like cool being able to joke around and hang out with the people there, and like you get to know the doctors and have laughs and whatnot. But I also being there so long, they started putting like all these responsibilities on me that like a float normally wouldn't take care of. So like my days were sometimes like busier and flew by faster, but oftentimes just like more annoying. So that's lifted off the shoulders, but then then I don't have the people, so it's like kind of a catch 22. But it's also a little different as well when you are in a position where it's like a temporary job, like that's not what you're going to
Yeah.
be doing your whole life. So it's like, I'm not getting too attached anyway. So there's always like in the back of my mind, it's always like, oh, well, this isn't like permanent. So you just kind of have to come to grips now with the fact that like one day you're gonna have to say goodbye, sort of thing. But I don't know. As like heartless as it may sound, I'm also the type that just works to like get money and in this case like learn somewhat,
I
right?
mean,
And
I
to
think
and to
that's
like
most people just work for money. I think
yeah,
so. I
well
don't think that's very hard. I
and
think that's fine to say.
yeah, and to like take care of patients and to basically do stuff like that. And it's not that there's not aspects of the job that I like don't get enjoyment from, like whether that's general patient satisfaction or like funny interactions or like good conversations with patients or whatever. Like there's that aspect of it. But it's like realistically, if I had like infinite money, I could like live my life without that and just get that satisfaction from like friends and family and community where you can kind of make like a personal impact instead of having to do it through like an institutionalized like position, if that makes sense, right?
Right.
So like there's aspects that I enjoy, but they're not the reasons that I go there, right? The primary reasons for this position is like experience basically because like the money's kind of shit and like it's like yeah my job as a medical assistant implicitly is to do this and this but like the reason that I am a medical assistant is because of the experience currently. So all that said, I always have it in the back of my mind where it's like I'm not really here to make friends or anything, but that's also not mutually
I'm not here to
exclusive.
take part. I'm here to take over. In the words of Conor McGregor.
Conor McGregor. No, like I said, it might sound cold, but it's like basically I'm not there to make friends, so I never get like too attached to anybody or any place or whatever. But it's also like that's not mutually exclusive with like enjoying people while you're around them or getting to know them and joking and conversating and all this with them. So, it's not that I'm like a psychopath. It's just like I understand my primary objective, I
Yeah,
think.
I think again, I think most people are pretty similar to that. So, as long as you do your job well, I think that's good enough. Personally,
Yeah, I mean, for sure, there's people that like I'm in the unique position where I get to hear like the office drama at a lot of different clinics, like every day of the week. So I'm just constantly rotating and have this background feed of like eavesdropped office drama, and like nobody there likes their job. So it's like I mean they're in the same boat whether they say it or not, and a lot of times they do say it. But it's like everyone's still nice to each other unless someone's just a fucking bum.
I mean, that's why you get paid for it, right? Because there's gonna be some sucky parts that you have to do, right? So
Yeah. Yeah, and I ain't no commie or nothing. I support the what is it? Big Brother. I'm all for that. I actually did. I think 1982 is probably a bit more communistic than like current society in America.
I mean,
Now that I'm thinking
1984, but
about it.
yeah.
1984.
I don't know. That's like a whole other podcast we could do, but yeah. I'm not sure how I feel about that. Um, what else? Dude, why isn't the audio not playing on this? I
On
I,
what?
I pulled up this clip of Connor saying, "I'm not here to take part. I'm here to take over," but it's not playing.
Was that like a post fight or was that at a press
It was a
conference?
post fight.
Yeah.
Gunny Nelson, phenomenal performances. I fed off of that. It was a clean sweep for the Irish. I said it last year. We're not here just to take part. We're here to take over.
Yeah, I played it for the. It'll be recorded on the pod, but you can't hear it. I don't think. But yeah.
Who was that after?
It was one of his earlier fights. I don't know,
Uh,
but all right. I guess yeah. I got nothing else to say for this episode.
yeah, I guess the only other things I have to say could be different episodes, so we'll leave it at that. Um, I guess the closing remarks are good luck on your romance quest
Yeah,
and
I'll keep you posted. Like I
future
said,
MMA competition
like it doesn't. It
endeavors.
doesn't even matter like what happens. I just need something to be happening. You know what I mean? I need like intrigue. I call it romantic intrigue. It's just like something happening.
Yeah.
Keep it interesting.
Yeah, and as far as MMA competitions go, if you ever have one down near me, or if I'm free and you have one up near you, I'd love to come watch. Maybe
Yeah,
hop in the
we'll
open
see.
division for memes.
I definitely gotta compete again. Like I said, I can't go out with four L's. That's a no. So
Yeah, I'll tell you what. If you find an MMA competition down near me, and I'm able to join a
I think you can just sign up independently too.
yeah,
But
that's what I'm saying. If I'm able to join without like a dojo saying that they think I have some sort of belt,
train in
I'll
your garage.
dude, no, I'm not gonna train specifically for it. I'm gonna go there and not get my shoulders popped
I was
out.
gonna say like you got to be careful though, because your shoulder like is gonna take a lot of like punishment. But
Well, my shoulder already takes a lot of punishment rock climbing, so I'm sure the general punishment wouldn't be an issue, but there would definitely be a conscious effort to not like take shots that I know are gonna get sprawled with like one hand on the leg and not like
I mean,
let the
what if somebody
person.
like Kimura's you or something? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, yeah, tap, tap immediately. That's what I'm saying. It wouldn't even be like me trying to like compete for first place. It would be like, yeah, try to win as much as possible, but mostly just like be there to take part and like feel the mat sort of thing. Like it wouldn't be if I go in there to win, right? I'm happy walking out with a gold medal, two
yeah,
torn two
I
torn
would be too.
meniscuses, no shoulders,
Oh,
like
okay.
that like if you're there to win, you're there to win, and that's like it's that's just the truth, right? I mean, obviously, you try not to. You hope that doesn't happen, but your primary objective, like basically, like what end this by saying this? There was this. I think it was a press conference actually before they became cringe with like Khabib. And he was talking about the McGregor fight after he choked him in that rear naked, and he was like, you'll say this about my family, you say this thing about my religion,
But my father,
you say it about my father. You get in the ring, why you tap?
yeah.
Why you tap? Well, go to sleep like a man. Go to sleep. And that's
Well, I
that's
mean,
what it
but
is.
the problem is he didn't even have it under his neck. He was on his jaw, so he's gonna break his
Yeah.
jaw.
Let your head get ripped off like a man.
Yeah,
But no, it's basically that. It's like that mentality. It's like the fucking the Mamba mentality, dude. Like
yeah.
you're literally there to win and do nothing else. Like you're not there to make friends. You're not there to self-preserve. Like if you're there to win, you're treating that like it's your last ever competition sort of thing. And that's
Right.
like all the winners, all the fucking like LeBron James and Patrick Mahomes out there. Like obviously there's a bit more to it, but like that's their mentality more or less. Is like win at all costs. So wouldn't be there to do that. Would be there to watch to watch you
I'm just here to have fun.
and to maybe give you some incentive to train really hard and do really well
Yeah, I mean, I was
if I
training pretty hard
pledge
for
to
this
take
tournament,
part.
so well, it was my first tournament, so it's nowhere to go but up though. So
Yeah, fuck, dude. I don't even remember my first wrestling tournament. I'm sure it wasn't a dub. So nowhere to go but up. You're right.
all right, well, thanks for tuning into episode 24, everybody. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Peace.